Hello everybody, welcome into our latest live broadcast. Today it is the 19th of December 2024. My name is CareyHolzman, and thank you guys so much for joining me today as we continue our adventure into 4K live broadcasting and slowly but surely making some progress. I've got a few more cameras I got to configure. I got to go through the whole audio system after this and see if we can't do something else to improve the audio. Not that it's bad, but I think it could be better. That's the way I am with everything. Welcome in. Today we've got a show that's not a computer build, not a computer repair, but this is a product overview and introduction. Our friends over at ORICO sent us their foray into M.2 drives, PCIe Gen 4 by 4, NVMe M.2. They have them in various sizes, and to enter the market at this point when the prices have been lower than they've been for the capacities and speeds you're getting, well, they're going to have to even lower the price further to get your attention from the big name brands. But is it any good? We're going to find out here today. This is all shrink wrapped, and I thought we'll put it in this motherboard here. This is one of our 13500s, I think, 14500, and we can run a speed test on it. And then we can also throw it in the USB 4 ORICO enclosure. This is capable of doing about 3,600, 3,800 megabytes per second with a Gen 4 drive plugged into a USB 4 into a Type-C interface on the motherboard, or it could also be Thunderbolt 4 or 5. And we'll see if it runs as it's expected. We'll take a look at the heat, take a look at the performance, and we'll get to that in just a minute. First of all, hello, welcome in. And hello to our friend Buster there, joining us from Scotland, already in there early with a 10-pound super chat. He says, good evening, Carey and Mara and everyone in the chat. All the best from Bonnie, Scotland, where the temperature in Edinburgh, 36 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 2.2 degrees Celsius. Ooh, that is gonna be a bit nipply. Yeah, that's gonna wake you up. You have trouble getting up in the morning? Step outside, breathe in that cold, crisp air, hit your lungs, and just wake you right up. It's better than a cup of coffee. And then hurry up and get back inside and get to a fireplace. Mike Quinton says hello. Michael Sayers joining us along with John Lewis. John is joining us from Brazil. Marco Maelstrom says hello from Italy. Look at this, Scotland, Brazil, Italy. And we're just reading the top of the list. Let's keep saying hello to everybody. Scott says hello, as well as John Williams. Lou Greenia from Vermont. And Doman 2000, the Netherlands. Sorry, Doman 2000 joins us from the Netherlands. And we'll add that to our list of countries. I know Paul Connolly from Australia is in there somewhere. Mark Gaines joins us from Northern Ireland. Ian Gooch joins us from London, to name just a few of our viewers around the world. Let's see, Mike Quinton says, I actually have one of these, but never say it's YouTubed into a PC build. Let's see, scrolling through your comments, Kurt Schlegel and Charlie Purdy join us and say hello. Welcome in, guys. Tony Endow says hello. Welcome in, Tony. Charlie Purdy renews membership, now a member for 6 months. He says, I have enjoyed being a member of the community for the last 6 months. We've enjoyed having you, and I hope you're going to stick around. What we do here, different than any other YouTube channel, is we create a community that actually involves the community. If you're just watching these videos and you're not participating in our chat room, there's a great chance that you're just not getting what we're doing here. The point of these videos is to create a community versus creating a commercial. Most of the tech channels you watch are commercials for something. Somebody's paying for them, and it ain't YouTube's ads that play that drive you crazy. They drive us all crazy. And one of the most common ways content creators can afford their content is to just let a company give them a suitcase full of cash and say, you're going to make a video about this product, you're going to say these things, You're going to submit it to us for approval. You'll make any changes that we require if necessary. You will air it no later than this day or on this day. And then once you've done all that, we'll unhandcuff the suitcase of money and hand it off to you. And you know, it's a living. But what we do here is independent, and it's provided by and provided for our community. The advertisers, those big brand name corporations, they can go buy their own marketing. Now, we do work with manufacturers, but not under any payment. It's a question of if you want us to review it, you send us the product for free. We will review it on our timeline. We will be honest. And if I think I'm not going to like it, if I just not interested in the product or I don't think I'm going to like it, I'm not even going to, I won't review it. So everything I review here, for the most part, I have the intention that I'm going to like it, or it may seem too good to be true, and I'm not sure. Other times, and this happens rarely, I will buy something, for example, an ear-ying motherboard from AliExpress, for the sole purpose of making a video demonstrating live on camera, unscripted and unrehearsed, exactly why you should not buy your motherboard from AliExpress. It's a complete waste of money, and I knew it when I spent it. But because it's for the community, I don't want you guys to spend your money with the false expectations that it's just as good or it's the same. It isn't. It is not. If you're an extreme hobbyist with very high technical skill, that might be a fun project. But if you're just an average user looking to save $1, that's going to cost you more when it's all said and done in time, money, and frustration. And you're going to wait longer for it to arrive. You're going to have zero support, zero BIOS updates, probably. And so I will buy that using the funds that we generate from the community that are members who pay for monthly access, as well as our super chats. That money gets pooled, and then it's used to create these projects where we're free to say whatever we want to say, however we want to say it, whenever we want to say it, and the company isn't involved. We don't even talk to them. We just do what we're going to do. And what I'm trying to explain here is that you're watching a very different kind of YouTube channel. And if you really want to get the most out of this channel, join into our chat room where we are live. We only ask that you are kind. Come in, say hello. That's all you have to do. Pop into the chat while we're live, say hello. Watch what happens. You have future friends waiting for you, and you get to interact with each other and me with you guys while we're live, unscripted, unrehearsed. And we may not always agree, but I'm always going to be direct, and I'm always going to tell you what I think is the most practical solution. And customers pay me for that. I'm just saying, in my real life job, I work as a computer tech, if you're new here. I started in 1991. And obviously, I've been doing something right. For all of the commenters that may say I don't know what I'm doing, well, I've somehow been able to run a business this long without going out of business. So you decide for yourself. But it won't matter what I say, because it's the internet, and there are commenters that will just take the devil's advocate side just to poke and harass. We're not trying to encourage those people. What we're trying to do is encourage the kindness. And I know there's kindness on the internet because we have this amazing community that proves it. And wouldn't you rather be a part of that? Because if so, we'd love to have you. If not, well, then don't bother. Just stay watching and don't even participate if you're not a kind person. Just being direct and honest. In the meantime, welcome into, let's see, we've got David Graham and Richard DeFries. Richard joins us from Ireland. Patrick Manny says hello. Tim Sowell and Craig Dowler. L. Fonseca says hello from Lake Tahoe. Never been to Lake Tahoe. Should go one of these days. There's Dustin Fuller. And Ken says, yeah, forget about Discord. Yeah, this is our Discord, for sure. Old school. Colin Hilton joins us from England. He says, hello, welcome in, Colin, a great friend of the channel, and one of the reasons we're able to broadcast to you in 4K right now. Combination of our friend Peter Laycock, Frankie B, Oystein, Rob Foster, Mark Gaines. We have some very generous contributors, Colin Hilton, that have helped a lot in the equipment required to do this, from the microphones to the microphone packs, to the cameras, to the tripods, and of course to the capture cards. And the audio is about to get better soon, I think, or a lot worse, depending on how that goes, because we have some more audio equipment to set up and configure that hopefully will make it even better. We'll just keep polishing, polishing. ORICO did send these products to us for free in exchange for a review, but under no other obligations. This was sent prior. You know, we keep it on a shelf for just such an occasion. And the 2 terabyte NVMe was sent recently. It's still shrink wrapped. I've got no, how can I explain this? I've never seen this before in my life. I've never seen a video about it. I know nothing about this. I come at this as a 30-plus year professional technician with my own expectations from a product for its price, and then I'll tell you what I think. Now, let's take a look at the way that they're promoting this product, because I'm curious. I want to learn more about it. So we're going to jump over here to ORICO's website. ORICO? ORICO? I don't know. We're going to jump over to their website, and I'll share this with you. The links for it are in the video description below today's video. There it is. Okay, this claims it can do 7,000 megabytes per second. Now granted, Western Digital will promote their SN850X at 7,300. But we reach what we call a point of diminishing returns, which is, what's the real difference between these drives? No human being is going to notice the difference between 7,000 and 7,300 without a benchmark software telling you, and then you're just believing it anyway. So that's kind of pointless. The question is, we will use the benchmark software. Will we hit 7,000? And if so, how much capacity are we getting for how much money, and how well does the drive sustain? In other words, when we're doing the test, when we go to do the write test immediately after the read test, we have seen drives that drop dramatically because they start overheating and slowing down. When we talk about warranty, let's just make this really clear. SSDs do not wear down over how many reads they can have. They can read from now until the cows come home. I don't know what that means. My mother told it to me all the time. The writes are limited, but some people think the TBW, the terabytes written, right here, it says more durable down here, and you see how it says 600 terabytes written? This is not the limit. Any more than the 36,000 mile warranty on your car is how many miles you can expect the car to live for before it dies. That's your warranty, not your lifetime. So the drive can write a lot more than 600 terabytes, a lot more. But the warranty ends at 600 terabytes. Do you get it? If your car can drive whatever the warranty is, 36,000 miles, do you just assume it's time for a new car? Well, some of you probably do. Wish I was one of those people. No, that car can go on for 250,000 plus miles after that. You're just not under warranty. I don't know how much clearer I can make this, but here's what happens when you wear out an SSD. If you put too many writes on a solid state drive, it becomes read-only. That's what happens. It won't let you write to it anymore. That's all. Now, that doesn't mean you don't need a backup. Of course, you still need to back your data up, because you can get ransomware. You can accidentally delete files. You can have file corruption. You might accidentally delete the file. I mean, which of us hasn't done that? Certainly not me. Never, ever. Not once. And then, of course, you can have power outages, thefts, fires, floods, and just product failure can happen. It's not common, but it absolutely can happen. These aren't infallible. These aren't bulletproof, but they're way, way faster, way more reliable than a mechanical hard drive. Smaller capacity, but that's probably a good thing, because the more capacity you've got, the more data you have to lose, or the longer your backups are going to take. So if you want to be a hoarder and you want to store everything everywhere, it's nothing money can't fix. And then, you know, even at least with ORICO, they make this a little cheaper to go with the faster NVMe drives. Now here's the thing, the NVMe non-volatile memory express SSD solid state disk is an M.2 form factor. Did you get all that? See. The speed of 7,000 megabytes per second, what does it mean? Well, you know that mechanical hard drive you've been using? That's around 200 tops. I'm sorry, did I say 200 versus 7,000? Yeah, but this one's got more capacity. Hey, pick your poison. I'm not judging. Oh, and this one's louder, uses more power. It's more prone to failure. Oh, but data recovery is easier on this. Why would you ever need data recovery? Because I didn't make a backup? Because you didn't make a backup. All data recovery is an expensive backup recovery. It's just stupid. How in the world is any data recovery company in business in 2024? It happens to everybody, but it won't happen to me. All right, put that tooth under your pillow. Let's see what happens tomorrow morning. All right, enough of that. Just looking at the page, wasn't I? Wow. Went off topic. Let's go over here and take a look at ORICO's website again, and let's see what they say. It's built for performance. Yes, NVMe 1.4 tech. PCIe Gen 4x4, so clearly not the latest Gen 5, but again, if you're a human, you probably can't tell the difference. But, you know, some people just chase benchmarks. That's good. You want to chase benchmarks, that's on you. That's fine. We do show Gen 5 drives here so you guys can see the point of diminishing returns for how much money you're spending and decide for yourselves. I'm just here to provide the information and make sure you understand correctly what to expect when you spend your money. We've got a sequential read performance. It says 7,000 and write performance of 6,500. So we're going to check that. We use a free piece of software called Crystal Disk Mark. The software I use is all free so that you can download it and check and compare your system to what I show on camera. I don't do anything you can't do. Fact is, if I can do it, I absolutely guarantee you can. Let's put it to you that way. It says it's got an advanced thermal design with a brand new heat dissipation pad. That's the sticker up here, I guess. And then these stickers can be made of graphite and other materials. When I call them stickers, they are, I mean, I'm not technically wrong, but they are doing more than just being a sticker. It's got a smart cache that has the high memory bandwidth mechanism and equipped with single level, is it single level cache? What is that? I forget what that's called. SLC Cache function accelerates read and write performance of the drive. Okay, but that's going to be limited to how big the cache is. So depending on the size of the files you're copying, that may or may not make much of a difference. It says it's stronger and more durable with a mean time before failure, or mean time, yeah, MTBF, of over 1.5 million hours. 1.5 million hours. Okay. I'm laughing because it's true. It's so ridiculous when you see it. 1.5 million hours is how many years? Only 171 years. So I'm just saying, plan accordingly. Okay, a little note about what gigabytes and terabytes are, petabytes, zettabytes, yottabytes. However, you'll also see down here it says 512 gig capacity, a 1 terabyte, a 2, and there is a 4. Now, how much are they? Well, you know, I like to buy from Amazon. Me personally, I like the Amazon Prime fast delivery. I like the free returns. Let's take a look. Here on Amazon, and again with links in the video notes below, we've got, it says $130, 5% off. Now, I was taught old school how to do math. We didn't have calculator. Well, you weren't allowed to use calculators. Anyway, I would take 10%, right, just off the top of my head. And 10% of $129 is about $12.99. So $13 gets us to 10%. And we know 5% is half of 10%. So if that's $13, we cut that in half, it'd be about $6.50 off of the $129. We subtract $650 from $129 and we get to about $123.48, something like that. But wait, there's more. The folks at ORICO have provided us with a discount code, and it's in the video notes below. And the discount code, hold on a second. This is how real and authentic this is. I don't have all this memorized. I'm not reading a script. I have to go and read my own video notes because Mara writes them, and she'll update them throughout the broadcast when necessary. And I trust her, and I don't have to proofread her notes. So I'm going to kind of look at them for the first time. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, there's an additional 10% off using the coupon code and a $19 Prime discount for a total of $93.59 with instructions on how to apply that discount. Okay, so $93.59 for, keep that number in mind, 2 terabytes, Gen 4, 7,000 megabytes per second. Price is an important thing to consider when we're talking about performance and capacity. It's a 5-year warranty, just like everybody else for the most part. And we're going to go back over here. And just for grins and giggles, if you said, oh, but the SN850X is a little tiny bit faster, so that means it's a little tiny bit more money, right? Oh, no, no, no. You pay a lot more money. And the more you pay, the less you get back. That's why I say it's a point of diminishing returns. This is true with CPUs. This is true with hold on, let me just type this in first. Western Digital SN850X, 2 terabyte. What's that going to go for? Oh boy, $150. So for the extra $55, you get a drive that can go up to 7,300 megabytes per second with the same warranty. So how important is that extra 300 to you? There is a Western Digital brand name tax on that, just like with Sony or other big brand names, even Samsung these days. Look at a Samsung 980 Pro, I think would be equivalent to this, with no heat sink on it. And that can't be right. Gen 4 speeds up to 7450. So look at this. If you want to spend another $20, you can go faster by about 0.5% for only 25% more money to get 0.5% faster. And that's only peak performance. In other words, it's just not running that fast all the time. It's only running that fast on big file transfers, big sequential file transfers. Now, you spend your money how you want. I'm just trying to be your crazy uncle here, working the numbers for you and saying, how does that make any sense? You know, if I can buy the tiny drink at the convenience store for 95 cents, but then the giant 55-gallon barrel drum of soda is only 5 cents more, I'm walking out with a 55-gallon barrel drum, 55-gallon drum of soda. All right, I'm just telling you, that's the way my brain works. Wasn't born with money, and I don't want to be without it again. So I'll try and make it stretch out as far as I can. I'm not going to drink that whole 55-gallon drum, but I'm buying it for a nickel, yes. Anyway, these are things to keep in mind, because in tech, the higher up you go, and in cars, the less you're getting back for your money. You go from one level of Corvette, which is affordable, let's just say, as far as Corvettes go, to the next level, you get a little tiny bit more, and you pay a stack of cash for that little tiny bit. When you go to the next level, it's a bigger stack of cash, and it's also a little tiny bit less, right? It's more, but less than it was more before. And the overall value is right there at the base. That's where all the value is. But when you start adding on all the little bells, whistles, and more horsepower especially, whoo-wee, you could double the price, but you won't double the horsepower. If you want to double the horsepower, you got to triple the price. How does that make any sense? I don't know. People are buying them. They got more money to me. Anyway, that's the idea. So if everything works the way it should, this should be a really good buy. You notice I said should? Because I don't know. Let's find out. I don't want to speculate. I want evidence and I want proof. So when we do these videos live, unscripted, there's no way I can fix the outcome of this. No one can say I'm biased. No one can say that I already had my mind made up before we began. I'm hopeful. If I wasn't hopeful, I wouldn't even be bothered to make the video. I was really impressed with the ORICO drive, and this is also on sale. This is an enclosure for an NVMe drive. That's USB 4 and Thunderbolt 4. And it's one of the fastest enclosures you can buy, and they're on sale also. Yes, we looked at the Zyke drive as well. They're a very different design. They accomplish the same goal. You have to provide your own NVMe drive for them. And the Zyke drive is more money. I mean, this ORICO drive, we'll get to that in a minute. I'll take you to the Amazon page. If you want to jump ahead, just look in the video notes and you can jump ahead. Let me go back over to our chat room. Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How-To joins us. Welcome in, Mike. Cheers, mate. Am I saying that right? Cheers. Overpronounce it. I'm trying to think what he's in England, and I watch a lot of British TV. And so, like, instead of saying hello, they'll say hiya. Or instead of saying how are you, they'll say all right. I'm trying to make Mike feel comfortable here. It probably sounds terrible when I do that. Oh, an American doing that just doesn't sound right. Don't ever do that again, Carey. Mike's got a great YouTube channel. If you enjoy my content here, be sure and check out Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How-To, the longest channel name in history. Gotta tease him. We like to tease. All right, this is our instructions, so those go over there, and that can go there. Oh, it gives us a little M.2 screw. Now, your motherboard should come with all the M.2 screws that you need, unless you misplaced them, or you bought a used board, or you bought it from some janky seller on Facebook. I don't know what you do. But, who knew these little baggies could be used for something other than illegal narcotics? You learn something new every day. Here we've got some thermal tape. Oh, there's a separate heatsink in here that you don't have to attach. It's optional. So when they mentioned the cooling, it wasn't the graphite sticker after all. See? I got that bit incorrect. We've got 2 pieces of thermal tape. You do not have to use these. It depends on what you're using it in. Your motherboard, if you're putting this in your motherboard, should already have this. Your motherboard should already have a heat sink. Some boards do, some boards don't. This one we've got the Samsung with a heat sink on it because, hold on, I'm not seeing my live feed. Right here, this is a cheaper motherboard, okay? So it didn't come with a heat sink for the M.2 here. So we put a Samsung drive with a heat sink on here. But underneath here, we can also put an NVMe drive. And this is a much better heatsink that's going to look a lot better than whatever any manufacturer includes. So if you have a choice, always use your motherboard heatsink. It's better. It also looks better. It's better in every way. Here's our drive. It's only a single-sided. This is only a single-sided drive, meaning there's no chips on the back. So I don't know why there's 2 pieces of thermal tape, unless they package them all the same. And the 4 terabyte drive, then you'd need the second piece of tape, or maybe one's a backup tape. I don't know. And then here's a heat sink, and this is optional. And I don't know how that goes on. I think it just maybe just sits on there. Is that all there is to it? I do not know. Does it go under it? Definitely. Does it go? Oh, I know. It probably goes under here. Like that. Yeah. And then that'll go on here. So the thermal tape will help hold that into position. So that little groove right there is what's going to be holding the drive down with the screw. And you should not be using the included screw unless You don't have any options, but you should have options. What'd you do to yours? See, this is why we can't have nice things. Now, if I need where's my glasses? I can't see so good. All right. How does that go in there? Oh, it snaps, I see. So there's these little metal clips, and when I push this down, it just locks in. And the reason it's sliding around in there is because we haven't put thermal tape on it. Super easy, barely an inconvenience. We don't necessarily need to put this on because, as I mentioned, we're going to place it underneath this heatsink here. Now, this heatsink might be Gen 5, but it doesn't matter. It's always backwards compatible, just like USB 3. And let me bring this up to the camera so as I can show you what this looks like up close. Up there. There's the one side. There's the other side. Okay. Okay. It looks just like an M.2 drive. It's just my little index card that reminds me of what CPU and RAM and storage we put on here. There's probably a BIOS update for that too. So let's get that out of here. I don't need this screw, and I don't need this heatsink. So we'll just set that on the floor there where that's going to go. Now again, just because I'm not using the heatsink doesn't mean you shouldn't. It just depends on what your use is of it. If you have a heatsink already with your enclosure or with your motherboard, use those instead. This is for everything else. The heatsink that it includes is for if you don't have those other options. Same with the screw. You should have the screw, but maybe you bought a pre-built that didn't include them. I've heard of that. I don't know. Preferably, we want to use the screw that came with the device or the enclosure so you don't mismatch the thread and possibly strip anything out. They're not all the same. Now to test this, we're going to install it first and foremost, which means I took my glasses off way too soon. And screwdriver. And let's see what's hiding under here. It better be empty. A one. We also have another M.2 right here that's exposed, which we would then use their included heatsink if we put it here. I don't want to put the heatsink on because I'm just going to have to take it back off when I put it in the enclosure, and I don't want to work any harder. I work hard enough. It's my story and I'm sticking with it. We're going to peel the film off of the thermal tape. See how I said the thermal tape's already coming with the heatsink on your motherboard? I wasn't lying. And it appears this holds the drive down, so we don't even need a screw. Make your own jokes. That's the other reason why you wouldn't use the included screw, because you might be in a similar scenario to me right now. And you'll be like, where does this go? I don't understand. You're overthinking it. Why is that going in so far? Holy cow. All right. That's it. We've installed an M.2 drive. Oh my gosh, you went too fast, Carey. Can you do it again? No. Let's jump over here. Let's grab a power supply, and let's get this motherboard fired up. Now, it's got Windows 11 on it. We prepped it on a previous video to someday go in a case with a power supply, waiting on a customer order or a purpose that it's ready to roll. Think of it as the dough to our future pizza. I've got the dough made, it's resting. When someone orders the pizza, they don't have to wait as long because our foundation's built. And then they can pick what case, a power supply or GPU. If they want to change the NVMe or the RAM, we just pop those out. All the hard work is done. That's why I do it this way. And then we're going to put our motherboard power supply on here like this. And CPU power. Oh, I meant to do that. I'm just testing the capacity of abuse and impact resistance of the power supply. It passed. Why is these things not lining up? Is it going to go that way? Does it go that way? Does it go this way? Got to go this way. I like it when these come already attached. I don't like having to hold them together when I plug down onto the socket there. All right, stay. Little wireless keyboard and mouse combo with a single dongle makes my life easy. Doesn't take up too much of my limited desk space. Turn that on, turn this on. What else do you need? HDMI, internet. Yeah, I gotta download some more internet. Let's see. Oh, a power cable. Power cable, internet. That'll go there. Power cable goes over here. We'll just set that right there for now. I need power to the power supply. Make sure the switch on the power supply is off for safety. We don't need no stinking safety. Who said that? That one-armed guy over there. Oh, okay. Plug that in. And an HDMI. HDMI NVMe SSD, M.2, QoS, TUV, WX, Y, and P. I gotta work on that. I think I got it right. Let's power supply on, fire it up. There it goes. And then I'm going to switch you over to this input over here. Come on, Elgato. There it goes. So now we're booting to this ASRock B760 Pro. This is the RSD4. And we've got a 14500 in here. This is a really good budget system where you're not entry level and you're not high end. You're right in the middle, towards the top of the middle. And you've got a system that's going to last 10 years here. Instead of a point of diminishing returns, this is a best bang for the buck kind of build. Best bang for the buck build, buddy. All right, where was I? Take a quick look at the chat. Mike Quinton says, look at the 4 terabyte sale with the carry code. Yeah, what's the price? I haven't looked, you got to tell me. Robert Kajna with a €5 super chat says, hey, Carey, it's for the Gatorade. Hey, Robert, thank you so much. Remind us, where do you watch us from? Planet Cryos joins us with a $2 super chat. He says, hello. I was expecting it to follow with, would you like to play a game? Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How-To wants to know, could you peel the sticker off the drive and see what controller and brand DRAM is on the drive if possible? I can't see why not. What else? What else have I been missing from the chat room? I think I caught everything. I don't know. But regardless, let's keep moving forward. Oh, look, we have a Samsung Magician. Sorry, ORICO. Let's just get that out of the way, shall we? We shall. Just update that and be done with it. We won't have to bother with it again. First thing we need to do is we need to format this drive. Well, there's something else I need to do, and that's increase my font size. Holy cow, how can anybody read anything here? 4K, this is the problem with 4K. You need young eyes to see 4K. I wonder if you have to be even younger to see 8K. Like the fonts and the text are so tiny, teeny, tiny, teeny, tiny. Who's this for? A hamster? I don't understand. All right, well, let's make some adjustment. Personalize. I want to personalize this. How personal is it going to get? Are you a resident? Hey, that's getting pretty personal. Yeah. Agree to that. Agree to that. Next, install. Just like that. And then there's my that's not what I want either. There's 18 different ways to get through to this setting I want, and I can't remember what it is. Display settings, probably. Just need that font size increased by about 250%. There, now it looks normal. Is that so hard? Now it looks like 1080. So great to have 4K, so I can make it look like 1080. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we need to partition and format our brand new Oracle drive. Remember, when you buy a drive brand new, they don't know if you're using it in Linux or on a Mac or whatever. So it's just completely blank on formatted space. You have to assign it. It's not really difficult to do. We're just going to come down to the search and type in disk management. You don't even have to finish the sentence before, or the command, before this option pops up. And it should auto-detect it. I say, hey, you got a new drive there. It's in drive 0. And all you have to do is click OK. That's it. That creates the partition. We just want one big partition. We right-click on the partition, click New Simple Volume. And you're going to need to do this even if the drive's in an enclosure, if you've never done it before and it's brand new out of the box. Just click Next, click Next, click Next, click Next, click Finish. You got it? We need to go through that again, then rewind the video. Now it's ready. I mean, that's all. That's all we had to do. Now, if you take a look, we ran Crystal Disk Mark on the enclosed Samsung drive when we prepped this board, and we got 6876.19. Whew, coming right at you. And only 5,000 on the writes. And I think this is a 1 terabyte Samsung we put in there. It is. So here's our 2 terabyte, and let's rename it so we don't forget. Let's go to show more options, rename, and we'll type in ORICO 2 TB, or not 2 TB. That is the question. I need administrator privileges. Permissions? Hey, administrator, can I have permission? It says I need to provide administrator permission to rename the drive. So I'm asking my administrator if I can have permission.
Let's see. Are you going to be good today?
Do I have to? I was good yesterday. Does that count?
No.
Well, then why bother being good today if it won't count tomorrow?
You have to be on the nice list, not the naughty list.
You're keeping lists? What else do you know about us? Do you work for the government?
I might work for Santa.
I know those weren't just drones.
I might work for Santa. You never know.
I think you work for the pigeons that have cameras and listen to us. Would you mind fetching my foil hat?
Is that what that mechanical bird was outside?
I'll show you a mechanical bird. I don't even know what that means.
You have my permission.
All right. I'm going to click continue. I guess it didn't even check with you, so that was all a big waste of time. Now we're going to run over to Crystal Disk Mark Portable Edition. I always run portable. I'm not putting crap on customers' computers. What do I look like? Dell? Let's go over here to Diskmark 64. And we're going to have to change our drive from drive C now to drive D. That's our 2 terabyte drive. And we're going to hit all right here and let these tests run. At the top of the window, you'll see it says preparing, and then it'll go through 5 tests. So we'll see the best of 5 in our sequential read. It'll work its way down the read side. Oh, look at that. just as advertised. Isn't that nice when the marketing companies don't lie to you? Huh, that never happens. And over here on the right side is the right side. So the right side is on the right side, all right? And then when we're done going through the read side on the left side, we'll do the right side on the right side. All right. All right, all right, all right. Mike Visions with a £3 super chat contribution. Right on. Thank you, Mike. Bajan Guy joins us, says hello, welcome in, Bajan Guy. Buster says Mara is Santa's little helper. Are you saying she's an elf? Because I don't think you'd be far off from that. Where's the shelf? All right. I guess I'm in a mood today. Scroll that over that way. I guess when I'm waiting, I'm going to check my phone right quick, see if we're missing anything. And I don't see anything. Well, wait a minute. Let me look again. No, so far so good. So far so good. I'll just set my phone over there. This is all being done in real time, live, unscripted, no rehearsals. One take, it is what it is. And let's see what our write numbers are going to be. We're about to find out. Where are we going to hit? It said what, 6,500 on the right side. So here we go, here we go, here we go. Any minute now. That's really, really good. And that's just test 1 of 5. So hold on, let's, 64 to 8, it went up a little bit. 6,500, 6,500, 6,500, well, here's 75, 7,500, 65, 6,450, 6,450, anybody 6,450? I got to be honest. 6,467. All right, 6,467. Going once, going twice, sold. So we are, wherever we made up the difference on over 7,000, where we were a little under on the 6,500, it more than makes up for if you take the extra on the left and move it to the right. I don't know if that's a thing. I'm just saying, I feel like this is a pretty good drive. Like it's running really well. We can also run Crystal Disk Info and take a look at what our temps are, since everybody on the internet is obsessed with heat. It's like mental warming. It's not global warming. It's mental warming, where people are technochondriacs that are watching YouTube videos, too many of them. Not you, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about people that are so obsessed with heat, even though they've never had a heat-related problem, and are convinced the reason they've never had one is because they take all these measures they see online to avoid a heat problem. I'll put in 37 fans, a 16-pound cooler, and I'll buy $200 of specialized thermal contact material that's used in space stations. Okay, I mean, I got some magic elixir that'll cure all your ails. It's only $2,000 on a monthly subscription. And you can cancel at any time if you can figure out how. I don't know. I don't know what the world's coming to. Let me jump back over to full screen on my side, even though it's full screen for you at home watching. It's a tiny window for me. So, I can see this much better now. It's almost done. You'll see it says random write. Okay, there, it just finished. All these went back to normal, and then we'll go to File. We'll save image, right? We'll save these results. Remember, if we run the results more than once, the numbers will never be exactly the same. So we should be within a certain ballpark. And we are Crystal Disk Mark ORICO 2 terabyte Gen 4. We'll save it as a JPEG, and we will put it on the desktop. Bada boom, bada bing. So far, so good. Everything is working as promised by the manufacturer. Can you imagine if all manufacturers did that? But they'd lose a lot of sales. I mean, unless it was really good. Like it's, if they're like, well, we're going to say it's 7,000, but it's really only 5,000. I'm just saying, if they did that, if they were honest, you probably wouldn't buy it. In this case, they're saying 7,000, we're getting 7,000. And you know what? The write speed is so close that it's a margin of error. So that's perfect. I like what I'm seeing so far. With Crystal Disk Info, let's see if we can read some information on this. And we'll run Disk Info. This is going to read the make and model and controller and such on the drive. Should pop up here without needing to pull the sticker off. But what's interesting is that the Samsung drive is written into its own firmware that it has a heat sink. The software is not that good. Oh, I can feel a heat sink on it. No, that's just from Samsung. And you'll see that it tells us it's been powered on all of 6 times in its life and has had a whole hour of use on it. And PCIe Gen 4x4 and plugged into a Gen 4x4 slot. NVMe Express 1.2, features smart and trim and all other stuff you don't need to worry about. Over on drive D, you don't get a lot of information, just ORICO, PCIe 4x4, 4x4, NVMe Express 2.0. A little bit newer, huh? Oh, look at our rotation rate. It's 0. Rotation rate, SSD. Power on 3 times in its whole life, and it's been powered on for 0 hours. To be 0 hours old again. It's like a car with 0 miles on the odometer. Still has that new NVMe smell. All right, well, let's shut her down. Oh, that looks good. Shut down. Let's come back over to channel 1, or camera 1 is what I should say. Here I am. You thought you got rid of me? Please. We can take this out. We can put it in here now and then hook it up and see if we're getting the max USB 4 speed, which should be 4,000 megabytes per second minus parity and overhead. Somewhere between 3,600 and 3,800 would be expected, and about as good as you could possibly do. But you need to have an NVMe drive in there that's higher than Gen 3, because a Gen 3 drive at its best will only do 3,600. But a Gen 4 drive should be easily able to hit 3,700, 3,800, since it can do twice 3,600. Every generation doubles, and Gen 5 can do twice that. Gen 6 will do twice that. That's where you go. Oh, and Gen, yeah, exactly. All right, so what do I want to do next? Take that out. Am I done with it? Yeah, let's take it out. We're going to turn the power supply off or unplug it. I don't care what anybody else says. I care about you. They don't. I care about your equipment, maybe even more. And for the sake of your equipment, unplug your power or shut your power supply off before you go digging in here and changing out any components. Now, I don't care about stuff on this side. You can plug all you want while the system's plugged into your I/O port. I mean, that's why it's called an I/O port. All this stuff, it's low voltage. When it's off, it's still really on. And it's not really going to hurt you, but it could damage your components that would be out of warranty. You're not going to be happy. Listen, if you want it to be trouble-free, do it this way. If you want to take some dice and roll them, well, then leave it plugged in and see what happens. Maybe you get lucky this time. But over time, your luck's going to run out, and it might be just on the first roll of the dice, for all I know. If you don't do that, you got no risk, unless you really screw up your install. But this stuff is so easy to do. I'm not sure you could screw it up if you wanted to, if you tried. That would be a whole nother talent. Just keep watching my videos, and I'll show you what that talent looks like. Now, because we've already formatted and partitioned and formatted this drive, when we put it in the enclosure, it'll automatically show up like a flash drive or like an external drive. We don't have to prep it anymore. It only needs to be prepped one time. And I'm going to put that right back where I got it from. Okay. The ORICO drive enclosure, we've previously reviewed this, but not with an ORICO drive. As long as the NVMe is meeting all the NVMe standards, I don't expect why we should expect anything any different. But what a great opportunity to remind you this is a cheaper alternative to the Zyke drive. Not that there's anything wrong with the Zyke drive, but this comes with a USB Type-C to Type-A adapter that the Zyke drive does not, as I recall. No, it comes with two different cables, but they're both Type-C on both ends, and it costs a little bit more. And it effectively transfers all the data at the same speed, right? Limited to USB 4 and limited to the speed of the drive. They should perform identically, so why does one cost more than another? I don't know. I'm not a chief financial officer for either company, so I don't know why. But we're going to put the drive in here. All I can tell you is this one's cheaper. As far as I can tell, they work exactly the same. They look a little different. Maybe you're paying money for the look. I don't know. We're going to put the little plug on it. That's the one thing that's different, is that we have to put the little plug on it first. It's got a little groove. Slides into the notch on the NVMe drive. And we put that in so it's vertical. And we lower it to the, once it's in the groove. I gotta get some new glasses. I can't see so good. Wait a minute. I will say, ORICO could have done a better job with a toolless installation. You notice I haven't broken out a screwdriver for this, right? But this little piece, it's easy to drop it. They give you a spare one, but nonetheless, I'd say if there was anything that could be improved here, it's this part. Now, unless you're doing this all the time, swapping drives in and out for maybe data recovery purposes, if you're like most people, you're going to put one drive in it and it's going to stay in there a very long time, and you're going to use it as a backup drive, or maybe it's a way you're transferring files from one computer to another because you don't understand Windows networking, so you're going to use the sneaker net. Hey, this will do that. I'm not judging. But you see how I'm struggling, and that's because it's not a good design. It's never my fault. This should just pop in and pop out, and it shouldn't matter. And it's on the floor. It shouldn't matter that you have, I don't know, raccoon-like fingers. You should just be able to, anybody should be able to put that in there, regardless of your dexterity or the size of your digits. I'm also out of practice. I suppose if I was doing this every day, I'd be really quick at it. Or I'd just be really slow. Wow, why is this so difficult? Come on now. Okay. I need some glasses that are even stronger than these because I'm wondering if that has to go on a particular direction. In other words, I know it has to go on vertically, but is there a north and a south? In other words, does it have to go with one particular end facing forward? Because it kind of feels like it. Let me just check. Closer look here. Okay, so the trick is you have to be able to see it. If you have vision difficulties and you're not in a well-lit room, this could be a challenge. There are other units, such as the Zyke drive, that you just pop the drive in and turn a little lever. Or there's even, like ASUS has their locking mechanism that's just a latch that moves forward and backward, and it's angled, so when you push the drive down, the latch moves back, and when the drive seats, the latch moves forward. This isn't rocket science. I don't know. I have a hard time finding anything wrong with this except that. So if you're like most people, you're going to do it once and it's good to go. If you're like me, you're going to be taking drives in and out. There's nothing wrong doing it either way. It's just that I haven't put a drive in there in a long time, and as such, I'm not well rehearsed. It's like I haven't played the piano in a long time, and if I went to play it now, you'd probably ask me to stop right away. With that done, let's go ahead and fire this back up now that we've got the NVMe out of it. And let me plug the power supply back in and turn that back on. Hit our power button over here. And while that is booting, we'll plug our cable in. This should work like any other flash drive or external storage, just faster than any other flash drive or external storage you've ever seen in your life. So USB Type-C on one end, it's got an adapter to Type-A. If we want to use USB 4, we're going to have to do the Type-C. I'm assuming this board has USB 4. I probably should have checked it. We'll find out when we see our numbers. We'll plug that in right there. And then we're going to jump over to camera 2, which is the output of this machine. And then I need to go full screen so I can see full screen. Full screen. And then, my computer, there's the drive right there through the USB-C. And let's jump over to Crystal Disk Mark. Portable edition, 64-bit, yes. And computer says no. No, it doesn't. There's drive D right where we left it. But we're not going to see 7,000 this time. But what we are hoping to see is around 3,700, 3,800. If, in fact, this motherboard is USB 4. I'm going to find out. That's definitely not USB 4. That is definitely not right. So that's likely because I don't have this plugged into USB 4. Hold on a second, that's terrible. Does this board have USB 4? I don't even know. Oh, I didn't. Did I plug it in the right way? Oh, this is only a 5 gig per second port, Carey. Come on, Carey, get it together. Okay. So sorry, I'm laughing because it's written right next to the slot. But again, my eyes, they don't work so good anymore. And I can't see so good. And I see a Type-C port on a relatively nice motherboard, and I automatically assume, because, you know, assuming is what you should always do. It always works out well. I assume that was a USB 4. It is not. If I wanted that, I'd have to pay a little bit more for the motherboard. But the good news is, well, my good old friends over at Minis Forum, you know, we've got the MSO1 here. And, well, this already has 3 drives in it. We'll just throw a 4th one through the USB Type 4 that is definitely on this. And we'll just precariously set it up there. I mean, sure, what could go wrong? I'm going to grab my network cable And plug that in. We have 2 network ports back here. This thing is loaded to the teeth. This is a workstation. That teeny tiny thing is more powerful probably than any computer you've ever owned. I mean, I don't know you, but in general. And whatever. Let's HDMI into this. And the power brick uses the same power cable as a desktop PC. So we'll grab the same power cable we've been using. And then I also need to move the keyboard and mouse over. See, look at how prepared I am. USB dongle for the keyboard and mouse. I don't have to put it up here, but I feel better doing it. There that goes right there. Turn that bad boy on. Probably have to plug it in though, right? Let's see. Plug it in there. Plug it in there. There we go. Now we turn that on. Blue light comes on. And boy, I hear nothing out of it. Let's make sure it's booting. So far I got nothing. Give it a second. It's been sitting there for a couple weeks and it's gonna take it a minute. Normally when you leave the computer plugged in, as I mentioned, it's got power that consistently runs through the board. That's why your system's going to boot up so much faster every day, or however often you turn it on from from an off state. But when it's in an off state and unplugged, it has no power running through it at all. And as a result, if it's been that way for a little while, it may take a bit longer to post. POST stands for power on self-test. And then as long as you leave it plugged in, it shouldn't take that long to post anymore. But after this video, I'm going to unplug it, put it back in the corner. So we'll enjoy that while it lasts. Once again, we're booting in 4K where I can't see anything. Oh my gosh, I don't know how you kids today see this stuff. We're going to go to display settings and we're just going to bump that 250% right over here. Recommended. Recommended for who? Oh, you know what's fun? I'm going to go off on a tangent right here. Let's go to the Microsoft Store. Let's do a little Christmas shopping. Microsoft Store. I guess that's down here, isn't it? Microsoft Store. We're going to go off on a tangent. This is so stupid. Come on. First day with my new fingers. Lively Wallpaper app. Let's get that. Free and open source software that allows users to set up animated and interactive desktop wallpapers. That's like putting hubcaps on a lawnmower. Let's do it. Downloading, installing. Here we go. All right, things are getting interesting. Getting interesting. Almost there. 300 megs for wallpaper, sure. Why not? Just put that on my floppy disk. Take it home. We'll open this app up. People are like, oh, where'd you get that wallpaper? This is the wallpaper I want right here. Oh, I gotta watch this thing. Right click to continue. What's it talking about? Yeah, okay. See, as I move the mouse, the wallpaper follows me. Hey, Mara, what was in that muffin you fed me earlier? This ain't right.
Did you say what was in that muffin?
What was in the muffin? You should see what I'm seeing right now. It's tripping me out. Oh, man. Oh, give me another one of those muffins.
Oh, that one, yeah.
Wait, you see it too?
Yeah, I do see it.
What color's your dragon?
I don't eat muffins, but I don't know. Maybe you were too standing too nearby.
That's not what I heard.
Maybe it's the gum.
Oh yeah, we had caffeinated gum
it's
today.
It's good. It's tasty, right?
Yeah, and how much was it? $3 for 6 pieces of gum?
Right.
I mean, this is ridiculous. It was spearmint though. It's tasty.
Yeah.
Yeah. It gives me something else to do with my jaws besides talk. Here, have another piece of gum, Carey. All right, Crystal Disk Mark Portal. Oh, I got to plug the... Whoa. Oh, my gosh. All right, let's go back over to, you know half of our viewers are downloading that right now, right? All right, let's go back over to camera 1 for a second. All right, we're going to take the drive here. Now I know this has Thunderbolt on it, and we'll plug it into one of the Thunderbolt ports there. That's basically USB 4, same thing, kind of. Close enough. We have a little cooling fan on this bad boy here, and then there's an activity LED here in the back, which I don't know how well you can see that. Blue light. We'll set that right over there. And we're going to go back over to camera 2. And let's try that crystal disk mark one more time. Right click, full screen over here. Crystal disk marks over here. And we should see a, well, wait a minute. Which drive is it now? I've got a lot in here. ORICO. Well, I'm glad I named it. Okay, so it's drive F. Come down here, select drive F. Now let's see what it can do. All right? Live, unscripted. It's the way we roll. And $37.95. There we are. What'd I say? 3,800 was the max, right? We're already reached a little bit more than that. Holy moly. Are you not impressed? Peter Lycock said, Carey, I have had the same problem with that ORICO enclosure and usually end up losing that little piece. Well, you know, when that little piece falls, it didn't vanish into the multiverse. It's there somewhere. I'm hoping you do eventually find it. One quick way I have found to locate items that have fallen is to walk around the area barefoot, and almost immediately a searing pain shoots up my foot going, found it. It's like stepping on a Lego. So I always keep the piece when it's not in use locked into the circuit board empty, just as I showed it, and you get an extra one in the bag. Now, if you've lost those two, I'm not sure what the answer is then. Maybe you have to reach out to ORICO support and see if they'll send you some more. Old McDonald said, Carey needs a jeweler's magnifying glass. They have a word for a jeweler's magnifying glass. What's that called? It's called a, oh man, I'll think of it in a second. Or he needs an electron microscope. What is a jeweler's magnifying glass? What is it? Oh, that's bothering me. I'm going to Google this. Jeweler's magnifying glass is called a loop. I got there before I clicked enter. Just so you know, I was faster than Google. It's called a loop, a jeweler's loop. Not L-O-O-P, but L-O-U-P-E, a loop. Loop, loop-a-doop, loop-a-doop, loop-a-loop-a, loop-a-doop. Sorry, are we still live? All right, write speed is at 3,000. I don't know, is that good or bad? I'm trying to remember what our tests were previously. We do have the reviews of the ORICO and the Zyke drive. We pitted them against each other. The ORICO is less expensive, it's more plasticky. The Zyke is like a giant heat sink, feels better made. The Zyke is more money. The Zyke had an issue with the included cable on this Minis Forum workstation we're working on right now, but it didn't exhibit that problem on any other USB 4 computer we have. And we used the ORICO cable on the Zyke drive, and it fixed the communication problem that it has only with the Minis Forum. And the ORICO works universally, doesn't matter. So I'm baffled by why the cables that the Zyke includes 2 cables only work at half speed when plugged into the USB 4 only on the minis for them. And the ORICO works fine no matter what. And the ORICO cable, when used on the Zyke drive, also worked at full speed on the minis for them. So something about the ORICO cable is different, and something about the minis for them, just this specific model of minis for them, because we tried other minis forum models and didn't replicate the problem. It's unique to this model of minis forum and unique to the model of Zyke drive, which is, whatever the latest one is. I cannot explain it, and nor do I care to do the forensic study on that to figure out why. It doesn't matter to me. The combination of those two very random items, very unlikely that you will encounter that. And if you do, just buy another USB cable, USB-C, or just buy the ORICO drive, right? And not have to worry about it to begin with. That's why we do the testing live, is so we can see in real time what's actually happening, and run some experiments and explain the process that leads us to our ultimate conclusion for whatever the length of that video is, right? The conclusion may change as more information is gathered, or there may be no more information. You reach out to the manufacturer, they say, maybe it's your BIOS or maybe it's your drivers. It is useless. So it is what it is, and you likely do not have an MS-01 for minis for them. And if you do, well, maybe don't buy the Zyke drive for it. Other than that combination of those two, the Zyke drive worked fine on every computer we've tested it on, even from minis for them. And the ORICO drive has worked fine on every computer we've tested it on. So take that for whatever it's worth. And there's our final numbers: 3801 on the sequential reads, and 2998, well, let's just call it 3000 on the sequential writes. We do have some air cooling going on here. The enclosure, and I'm wondering if we maybe have a little heat-related performance degradation because we don't have the heatsink on it, although we do have a fan blowing over it in this enclosure where the Zyke drive does not. Let's do settings, and let's go to just the write speed. Can we do that? No, that's not what I want. It's in here somewhere. Profile, theme, settings, file, settings, test data. Is that what I want? Profile. That's it. Just want to see write performance. There's peak. Let's just do write performance. I just want to see if, with the drive cooled down, if we restart the just the writes over here, will they be any faster, or is that peak and temp had nothing to do with it? That's peak. So you can usually tell when a drive is overheating because it'll drop to like really, really super, not just a couple hundred. We're hitting 3000 there, but we might have hit 3000 before. Numbers of a variance of around 50 megabytes on a crystal disk mark. That's within the error of margin of the test, and it'll never give you the same numbers twice anyway. So we're in the same ballpark. It's not heat related. We don't have the heat sink on it. And 3000 on the writes, and it looks like about 3800 on the reads through USB 4. That's clearly a limitation of the USB 4, not of the drive itself. USB 4 can do 4000, but there is error correction and parity and such that goes through the data transmission. It's correcting errors all the time, and you're going to lose a little overhead to that. So getting 3800, that only leaves 200 left for all that overhead on those reads, because USB 4 cannot go any faster than that. You'll need USB 4.1, and then that'll double the speed again. But they'll have to be USB 4.1 on the enclosure and on the device you're plugging it into. That does not exist yet, but it's next. Let me come back over here. Let's get back over to camera 1. Now, let's see what questions you have for me here today. Gil Garcia joins us. Welcome in, Gil. Oystein said, Carey breaks the speed record. Well, I'll tell you what, if you're watching a benchmark where their speeds on a USB 4 are over 4000, either they don't know what they're doing and they left some cache on, or they purposely video edited this, their video to make it appear to do something that's technologically not possible through USB 4 as of December 2024 anyway. The more you know. Bajin Guy says, can you really play the piano or were you just joking? Oh, I can play a piano. I'll play the hell out of a piano. May not sound good. I haven't played a piano in a long time. Very rusty. But at least it's not a trombone. Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How-To says, it seems the drive uses the Maxiotech MAP1602 controller and the YMTC QLC flash. It says it was SLC. It doesn't say it's QLC, it says it's SLC. It says it's a 232-layer variant of NAND RAM, DRAM, variant which is probably where they're saving money over the TLC DRAM. It's not QLC though. I threw the package around here somewhere, didn't I? Let's see what the package says. Four different types of DRAM memory on a solid state drive. QLC, TLC, SLC. There's one more. MLC. All right, this is a 2TB SLC NVMe M.2. You didn't know I was bilingual, did you? Look what we got. Come on, focus, baby. There it is. Doesn't tell us nothing. You want the QR code? Everything's backwards. Doesn't look like a whole QR code. I guess they put a sticker over it. All right, anyway. Let me just set that right over there. And let's go back over to camera 2. So we were just doing the write speeds over there, which is why those numbers didn't fill on the read side. Just to remind you how we got here. You right click on that so I can see it the way you guys get to see it. Oh, that's so much better. Just want to put that back the way it goes so I don't get confused myself for next time. Hello. If that drives you crazy, you can change it to something else. What else do we have to pick from here? Matrix. All right. Hack it in. Would you like to play a game? How about a nice game of chess? No disassembled. Johnny 5 is alive. I think he's having a stroke. Do you smell toast? There you go. Yeah, and there's a few other options in there. I'll let you play. You play with it. Go on your little PC discovery. I don't think that's self-discovery. That's a totally different video series. Let's jump back over to camera 1. Bing. Wait for that. Did I shut that down? I think I shut that down. Yeah, it shut down. And we're going to take the drive back out of here. It's got a little warm. But the faster something goes, the hotter it gets. including your stove. Let's go ahead and remove the little plug. And the whole plug has to come out with the drive, and then we pull the plug away from the groove in the drive, remove the drive. So I don't lose the plug, I put it back in and twist it, and it stays locked in there so we won't lose it. That's my method. Questions? We're just going to wrap it up, I think, because that's all we had to do today was to evaluate the drive. Overall, I think it's a great value. Hard pressed to find any reason to not like it. And if we're shopping based on value, we want a good bang for the buck. Finding something from a reputable company that will support you if you have any problems at this price point with a 5-year warranty, the same as Samsung and Western Digital. Yes, some people are very interested in the technology in it. It's not a very common question we get from average ordinary users. Some people want to know, does that have the Phison controller and what DRAM is it? What we care about here is how well does it work. If I offered you a hot dog, do you really want to know what's in it, or do you just want to enjoy it? It seems like, and I'm not making fun of Mike's unboxing reviews and how-tos, he's into that level of detail. I believe if you want to be that particular, you should open up your wallet so you can be that demanding. On the other hand, if you see a really good deal and you like it, like we've tested it, it works well, nothing about the controller or DRAM is going to change my mind on what I just experienced. We experienced it together. That speaks volumes more than whatever the controller or firmware version or DRAM are, because the reason people ask that primarily is because they want to know what the performance is going to be potentially. We don't know what the performance is going to be potentially. We know what the performance is actually. And that's far more valuable to your average consumer in my line of work. Customers don't ask me these questions, but it's a fair question. And if I can peel the tape off to answer Mike's question, I'm happy to accommodate. My concern is the chips are so small, I'm never going to be able to read them anyway. Looks like the sticker comes off pretty easily. I don't really think we need to take it any further off. And I think you guys could probably read this better than me since we're shooting in 4K. We have a pretty good camera. Now, I do think he's got the right controller, but the wrong DRAM. So that's your controller right there. And then these big chips, these are your DRAM modules. And I think, are they written that way? Or is it upside down? I can't even tell. Focus. Anyway, you tell me what it says. I have no idea. I hope that answers your question, Mike. Just peel that right back down. We'll put that in a build, and we'll use it, and we'll see over time if our attitude towards that changes. Most customers wouldn't know the difference from a Samsung to a Western Digital to a ORICO to Beijing, SanDisk, et cetera, et cetera. But most users also don't watch YouTube videos. So what are you going to do? Questions, questions. Bring your questions. Mike's Unboxing Reviews How-To says, here's the link to show ORICO are changing the specs for some drives. You could get a poor quality QLC or a TLC. Well, here's the thing I could recommend for that anxiety. and I can't speak for the UK where Mike is, but I buy everything with peace of mind and confidence with zero anxiety because I buy it from Amazon as an Amazon Prime customer. I have 30 days to return anything at any time for any reason at zero cost. Doesn't matter why. I don't even care why. Any reason. I just changed my mind. I need the money now for an emergency breast implant. I don't know. Amazon doesn't care. Right now, during the holidays, they extend the return until the end of January, last day of January, because they assume maybe you're buying this as a gift and they're not going to get it till the holiday, and then they're going to, maybe have a few days with family over the extended weekend. And then, is it an extended weekend when Christmas falls on a Wednesday? Do you get Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Probably not. But nonetheless, you may not get around to this till the weekend, and then you realize you don't want it for some reason, you don't like it for any reason. They can return it. The original buyer can return it, or the gift recipient can return this all the way till January 31st of 2025. So if you buy it, it turns out to be something you don't like or not as advertised, do us a favor, leave us a comment in the chat room. Let us know when you bought it and what you got. Because all of the speculation of what could or what has happened in the past does not necessarily apply to today. And the reasons why companies do that quite often is because they don't have a choice. Not because they're trying to pull one over on you. In manufacturing, you've got employees and factories, and you've got to keep the factories open and the employees working, or it's costing you money every day, just like your house or rent. That factory needs to be working. Right? Your employees need to have a job. You need to keep them working. But let's say your supplier of the DRAM modules or the memory controllers, for some reason they have a low yield, or there's a disruption in the supply chain, like the pandemic. What do you do with your factory? What do you do with your employees? And how does your company stay in business? You're going to need to find some alternative sources for controllers or DRAM, whatever you're having the shortage on. You need to find it now. And it needs to be what you would consider to be equivalent or close enough so that you don't have to change all your packaging. Nobody's doing this for the most part. I'm not speaking of Temu or AliExpress. Legitimate manufacturers are not doing that to pull wool over your eyes or to get one by you. What would you do if you were in their place? Does that mean, first of all, if the drive is advertised with a specific controller and you don't get that controller, that's a different story. But if the drive is advertised as Gen 4 by 4 NVMe 2.0 at 2 terabytes capacity and will run 7,000 megabytes per second, as long as they can meet that using any DRAM and any controller, their obligation is met. And just because you saw somebody on YouTube use it with a different controller in DRAM doesn't mean they're lying on their package. And it doesn't mean they're pulling one over on you. They likely had no choice. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to buy the drive. They'd be sold out, and you'd go take your business to a competitor that isn't sold out. What would you do if you were them? It's not demonized, not that he did, but that's the way I interpreted it. Like, oh, well, you order this, but you get that. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, you got peace of mind when you buy from Amazon, number one. 30 days is normal. It's extended right now. Number two, as long as they didn't promise you a certain DRAM or a controller, you've got nothing to complain about as long as it meets what they're advertising, which are the speeds, the generation of NVMe, the heat, all of that, everything that they're saying on their page, regardless of what chips. They're not telling you you're going to get this specific, as far as I could tell. I didn't see where they say you're going to get this chip on Amazon or on the product page at ORICO. I never saw that. That doesn't mean it's not there. Now, if they specifically say that and that's not what you're getting, now you've got a point. And in that case, what they should do is just, whenever they alter the parts that drastically, slap a sticker on the box. Nobody's going to pay any attention anyway. Very few people care about that level of detail. And I don't think it's anything to worry about, because you're going to know right away as soon as you get the drive. So always make sure you buy from a respectable vendor, rather than say some sketchy guy like me offer up. All right. I'm not sketchy, but I can be sketched. Okay, any other questions? Be happy to address as best I can. Chat room's kind of quiet today. Are you in there, folks? Are you in there? Let me know if you're watching, because it looks like in the last 15 minutes we've had like 20 people say something. That's like one person talking every 40 seconds. Really? Come on. Wake up. It's almost time to go home. This is my own joke. Don't worry about it. Fred wants to know, how hot can an SSD go? There's usually the heat limits that are specified from each manufacturer for each drive, depending on which generation it is, which controller it uses. Faster drives run hotter, that's normal. What's too hot? Varies from manufacturer to manufacturer. Most end users will never run into an NVMe heat problem unless they've installed it themselves and didn't do it right. But it is specified. Every, Samsung, Western Digital, ORICO, they'll tell you what the maximum allowable temps are. And that isn't going to kill the drive. It just slows it down until it cools off. So either way, it's not like you're avoiding disaster. It's just a minor inconvenience. Marsman says it's snowing in Coleman, Wisconsin. John Williams says it's snowing in Madison, Wisconsin. Frank Vandermeulen says, I burned my finger on it. Why was your finger on it? Well, it was on. Weird. K-True in the chat wants to know, what is the price of a Crucial T500 in the US? A Crucial T500? I don't think we've ever used a Crucial T500. Why are you asking? It's a weird question. We're not even talking about Crucial. Crucial T500. I mean, I assume your questions have to do with the subject, but I did ask if you had any questions. It's my fault. A Crucial T500 2 terabyte drive on Amazon today, right now, is a limited time deal, $149.99. That's with a heatsink on it, as pictured there. And I see a P310 at $125. These are all far more expensive than the ORICO, way more. You could almost buy 2 ORICOs for that price. All right. Coreyman says, what are some of the biggest mistakes people make when building or upgrading their PCs, and how have you seen these mistakes evolve over the years? Okay, well, first of all, we need to get rid of this word mistakes. Because I'm going to tell you, when people hear that word, and myself is included, we hear something negative. We hear something shameful. I love mistakes. Without mistakes, life would be so boring and predictable. There are countless mistakes beyond imagination from the levels of understanding and impatience a user may have when building a computer for the very first time. These are learning opportunities. If somebody's making the same mistake over and over and over, that is something that is shameful. And I could sit here and I can tell you all the mistakes I've made so that you don't make those mistakes. But instead, you'll make mistakes I never made. There's no end to this logic. You cannot go through life, nor should you desire wanting to know about all these other mistakes so that you will avoid them. All it's going to do is lead you to different mistakes. You understand? So the best advice I can give you is continue to watch my videos, watch my repairs, and you'll see what I see as I see it live and unscripted. And as it's a learning opportunity for them, it's a learning opportunity for us, and that's why we show the total live diagnostic and repair live on camera. You'll see me make mistakes all the time. Thank goodness. If I never made those mistakes, I'd be bored out of my mind. I wouldn't want to do this anymore. And if you think my ego's bad now, if I never made any mistakes, I wouldn't be able to fit my head through the door. Well, that's all I've got to learn. Nothing left. I've graduated high school, got my diploma. My education is over. Gosh, I hope not. So, not that you implied it was negative, but people do. They hear that word mistake and they hear how stupid are people. And that's not what it is. It's a lack of experience. None of us were born knowing how to do this. I wasn't born knowing how to talk or how to use a bathroom by myself. I used to crap my pants, and I couldn't even change them. I've come a ways since then. So it's easy for us to forget we've not always been like we are. We have grown and evolved since our birth to where we are today. Is that it? Or do we still have more growing and evolving to do? And if so, mistakes are on the way. Embrace them, appreciate them, and just don't keep making the same mistake. You're good to go. Nothing to worry about. Just another day. Peter VZ with a €1 super chat. Thank you, Peter, joining us from the Netherlands. Mitch Morrison joins us. He says, why did summer split up with winter? They had a falling out. Oh, ow. Oh, the dad joke. Oh, right in the liver. Is that where any liver? No, it's over here. Have you seen my liver? What was in that muffin? Let's see, it was an English muffin, so it had an accent. Our friend Buster says, I lost it. Where's Buster's comment? His nephew Richard phoned. He told me he loves the train PC. Oh, that's so awesome. Ooh, that feels good. I love it that he loves it. And I can't think of anyone in my life before or now who is better suited for that train PC. I think it was made for Richard. It deserves to be in his hands. It's in the right hands. Oh, God, that feels good. All right, thank you for the update, Buster. K-True says, I'm comparing the price with UK Amazon. Well, you can't really do that. Let me give you an example. What is the price of the Crucial T500 on UK Amazon? And also, what is the price difference of British pounds or euros, depending on what you're paying there in Britain, versus the value of €1 versus the value of $1 or the value of £1 versus the value of $1. So you can't just compare the numbers. You have to understand the numbers translate differently. I can't believe that drive is 10,000 pesos in Mexico. No, that's a really good deal if you can get that drive. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you can't do that. And on top of that, your country, the country you live in, has import tariffs on items not made in the country. Everybody does this. And it's so if the product costs a lot less money to make in another country, they tax it when it comes into the country in order to make any local competition even possible. So those tariffs, those import fees, they're going to vary from country to country, from government to government. And some countries are friendlier with negotiations between trade, others not so friendly. Brazil has like a 50% tax on the value of anything electronic you send over there. It's cheaper to just buy it in Brazil, and that's why they do that. They don't want Brazilian money leaving Brazil. They don't want Brazilian people missing out on jobs making the stuff that can be made somewhere else cheaper, so there's no jobs in Brazil to make that. So Brazil puts a very heavy 50% tariff, last I heard, on electronic items. And it's very discouraging if you think, I'm going to fly to America, buy some electronic items, and ship it back home. No, you'll end up paying more for it, and those items might be broken and have no warranty because it's a US warranty. A friend of mine will fly out from Brazil for a business meeting, buy a laptop while she's here, and just carry it on with her on the plane and just claim she had it all along. You know, customs, this is my laptop. She can avoid the tax. But you obviously can't bring in 10 or 20. You're not going to resell them. That's not going to work. Government's going to catch on to you right quick. But one, yeah, you're probably fine. But yeah, I mean, it's a significant savings. That'll pay for her plane ticket, that price savings on just the tariff. And that's Brazil, right? And every country's different. And that's one of few I know about. Johnny in the chat room thinks I'm Zoltar, and he wants me to read the future to him. He wants to know, will the price of motherboards drop in the new year? Is it going to rain tomorrow? What's the winning lottery ticket numbers? But if you have questions I can answer, I would be happy to answer those. Oh wait, I can answer your question. What am I thinking? What was I thinking? I can definitely answer your question. Hold on. Where is it? I have a device that reads the future. There it is. It's a little dusty. You know, for a device that reads the future, it sure has been sitting around in the past. All right. Let's see. What was the question? Will the price of motherboards decrease next year? Okay, let's see what it says. My reply is no. So my reply is no. Let me ask it again. I just want to see if it stays consistent. Sometimes you got to ask a couple times. Will the price of motherboards decrease in 2025? Maybe I just need to be more specific. Well, apparently it won't. It's camera shy. It's tilted up. What's it say? Don't count on it. It says don't count on it. See how far I can tilt it before it becomes illegible. No, price of motherboards will not go down next year, and that's according to a magic 8-ball. And if you can't believe a magic 8-ball, well, I don't know what to tell you. Whatever answer you'd like to hear. What else you got? Come on, guys, we got a few minutes left. Questions, end of year questions, beginning of year questions. Our email address, if you want to reach out to us at any time, is right here on the screen. You're welcome to reach out with your questions and your comments. We do our best to respond to everybody. If you haven't heard back, in 24 hours, your message likely didn't go through. That would be because you typoed our email address. People do this all the time, and we never get their email. Or it went into a spam folder for some reason. And that can happen if you're using some shady, sketchy email site because, I don't know, you want to be private and anonymous, but you want to reach out to a public figure. And then you're wondering why your email's not coming through. Sometimes those come through, but sometimes they don't, because that's what spammers and hackers and bad guys do. So if you're a good guy using a service that bad guys use in order to hide your identity to speak to me, yeah, I'm not sure how important I feel talking to an unreal person is, but you can try it. Just saying. But if you're an actual person with an actual name, sending it from an actual email address, not some temporary hacking tool, it'll probably go through just fine as long as you don't typo the email address. Okay? Okay. Vintage USA Tech says, what year did you build your first computer? I have a video called How I Got Started. And that video is on my YouTube channel, and I would strongly recommend you watch that because it's a long story. But How I Got Started on my YouTube channel, and it explains where I started and how I got to where I am. And it was not planned, just all sort of happened, and the reasons why it happened. Vaso said, I've ordered a Western Digital Black SN850X 8 terabyte. What do you think? I gave 625 euro. So if the euro is close to the dollar, Peter Laycock says a pound is equal today. This changes almost daily. It's called the foreign exchange or Forex market. 1 pound is equal to $1.25 US. So $1.25 here. That means for every 5 US dollars, it would be 4 British pounds. Pound sterling, I think it's the same thing. 4 knicker, is that a thing? I don't know. We have dollars, bucks. All right. Did you get a good deal? So we did see that go on sale for $549 US, and I told you guys it was a good price. I was hopeful that it would go down to $499, but it never did. It only went up. Right now it's $649 here in the US, both at Western Digital's website and on Amazon. We know it could go to $549 because they've done it before. They've never done $499 yet. I don't need it. It was tempting at $549, but after sales tax, it would have come out to another $50, so around $600 with free shipping. And for $600, I bought that laptop instead. Did I get a good deal, or did you get a good deal? I also could have bought a brand new washing machine for $600. Was that a good deal? I don't know. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. You didn't do bad. That's what I can tell you. You did okay. Could you have done better? I don't know, but that's pretty reasonable. Corey Man wants to know if I ever had an NVMe drive fail. And if so, what steps did you take to troubleshoot or recover from the issue? We don't live in a world of repairs anymore, at least not here in the United States. If I'm changing out the alternator on my car, I'm not rebuilding my alternator. I go to the auto parts store, I buy a new alternator, maybe one that's been rebuilt. Same with transmissions. We just send them off to another country where they get rebuilt for far less money than US labor. We go buy another one and pop it in. We're in and out quickly and the job is done and we don't have to worry about if the repair is going to stick. We also back up our data. Anything that's important, we make copies. Making copies. So if a drive fails, we just pop another drive in there, restore the data, we're back up and running in about maybe 20 minutes. It's really not a big deal. I don't know why everybody makes a big deal about it. How many have I seen fail NVMe drives? 0? We've had some run slower, right? There's a whole series of Kingston drives that are supposed to be Gen 4 that, they're included in pre-built machines. And a whole batch of them went out running like at half speed, and very few end users ever noticed. But those who do, who brought it to the attention of the PC manufacturer, mini PC manufacturer, as the case may be, were sent replacement drives that operated at the proper speed. It was just a bad batch. But most people that bought them never had any idea, still are using them today, and they don't know. So is that a problem? As for completely dead and failed, I don't think I've ever seen one. I've only seen 3 bad SSDs, the 2.5-inch SSDs. And I've got a couple of 5.25-inch SSDs made by OCZ over at Studio A that have got to be 15, 16, 17 years old that still have all the data on them. The data doesn't just wistfully disappear like people would have you believe. There's so many theorists that believe in ghosts, and they'll convince you those ghosts are real. The data will just fall off all by itself if you don't plug the drive in. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen or heard, because I've never seen it. No one has ever, in the lifetime of YouTube, demonstrated a drive failing, that it loses data because it's been left off. And there are videos where they've tried to test this, but they're not waiting long enough. So of course, when they plug it in, everything's always there. There's been some issues regarding corruption, but the drive they're using, like if you're using a really old worn out drive that had just extraordinarily heavy use on it, it may not have written the data right to begin with. But under normal use case scenarios, I have so many problems with this theory. And I say theory because it's never, ever been proven outside of the human imagination. It doesn't exist. And if you've got something important on a drive, why have you unplugged it and left it somewhere for 20 years? It doesn't sound very important. Like, pick your lane. That's all I'm saying. I want this to be archived for 100 years. Okay. You're going to be gone probably long before that, so it'll be fine well up until you're no longer fine. And then you won't know anymore, and nor will anybody else, and it'll just probably end up in, I don't know, somewhere. Goodwill, recycler. It doesn't make any logical sense. It's all human imagination and anxiety. Show me one. Show me one. So we have video. We have YouTube. You have a phone. Make the video. Show me your fears are justified. Don't show me what somebody else did, because for all I know, they manipulated their content. I want real. I want to see it really happen. And then, even if it did happen, is this a pandemic we all have to worry about, or it just happened to you this one time? Oh, that's how I feel about that. Bit rot. So bit rot is not what you think it is. Bit rot has nothing to do with the drive failing. It has to do with constantly adding and removing programs into your Windows operating system, and it starts adding more and more to the registry. And the term we came up for, we being the nerdy techs, we said you have bit rot. And this is like Windows 95, Windows 98. We don't really see that on modern Windows 10 or 11, or even Windows 7 for that matter. And the solution back then was you just nuke and pave. You wipe the system and reinstall it, and that rebuilds your registry all nice and clean. But that's what bit rot referred to. It's not actually the rotting of bits. It's a colloquial term. Is that the right word? Look it up. Metaphor. Johnny says, I was thinking of building a new computer and don't know whether to wait to get it now. Also, does Carey get commission if I buy it on Amazon UK? Sometimes we get commissions, sometimes we don't. I'm not quite sure. The links are supposed to be universal to Amazon, but I don't know all the details of that. I would say if you wait, it'll be better tomorrow. And if you wait till tomorrow and you wait some more, it'll be better the day after. And at some point before you die, if you continue to wait, it'll be better again the next day. And then you will have gone through your whole life always waiting for something better because nothing was ever good enough. And you were so afraid that you were going to buy something that was going to go obsolete quickly that you ended up with nothing and never had anything. I mean, that's okay. That's what you want to do, but let's be reasonable. Time is ticking. Sounds like that. And what you could be enjoying today might cost you a bit more. If you want to go watch that movie that just came out today, I don't know that there was one, but let's just pretend. You're going to pay the movie theater ticket price for that. If you want to wait, you can watch it at home using your streaming service, which may not cost you anything additional, on a smaller screen without the energy of an audience, without the atmosphere of a theater. Or you can wait a couple of weeks and see it at a matinee where it's cheaper and there's no long lines. But as you're waiting, there's probably another movie that came out that you want to see. And they're bombarding you with the advertisements for the movie trailer. And now you've all but forgotten about the other movie you wanted to see. At some point, you have to pull the trigger or don't. Like, make up your mind, but it's only your mind, not mine, not anybody else's. And I'm not here to convince you one way or the other. Just set appropriate expectations. If you wait forever. At some point, you've got to be able to accept what you're getting today for the price you're paying is the going rate. And that going rate will change tomorrow. And the availability of parts will change tomorrow. If you decided, I'll wait till next week, and then another pandemic hits, and then there's a part shortage, and you can't even get a webcam anymore, that's a risk you take too. So just to level it all out there for you, you've got to pick your strategy. Randy wants to know, is TP or TP-Link? I don't know what that's referring to. TP-Link is the proper way TP-Link likes it. Mike's unboxing reviews and how-to. He says he wants to shorten his name. What can I call him? That's not offensive. I like Mike. I'm just teasing him. But he honestly said he thinks his channel name is too long. But Mike is such a common name. If I just say Mike, how do we know which Mike I'm talking about? Come on, guys. You gotta give me a name for Mike. He says, I bought 3 OCZ 240 gig solid state drives when they came out, and all 3 died within 5 years. Yeah, OCZ had a terrible reputation. I've got 3 OCZs, pretty much the same, sitting at Studio A. If you'd like, the next time I go to Studio A, I'll bring them over here. We'll plug them in live. They haven't been plugged in years. I guarantee you they all work. Guarantee you. They don't just fail from sitting. But OCZ made millions of SSDs. And of those millions, they had an extraordinarily high failure rate for that category of product. That doesn't mean 90% of the product failed. It means more than the industry average. And it doesn't take much, if it's negative, for that word to get out and you think everything they ever made was bad. Because I have evidence that suggests otherwise. Roderick says, call him Brizzle Mike. I don't know what that means. What does Brizzle mean? John in the chat room wants to know, what adapter do you recommend for high-speed data transfer from a traditional SATA hard drive? There is no such thing. I'm sorry, did you say both high-speed data transfer and SATA in the same sentence? SATA's not fast. You can't make SATA faster. USB 3 is way faster than SATA. So if you just get yourself a SATA to USB adapter, you're already going to exceed the capabilities, words are hard, of what that SATA can deliver. It'll never be high speed. No such thing is made. Brizzle is a slang term for Bristol. Oh, for shizzle. Good old Bristol. You live in Bristol? Is that like Brighton? I don't know. They sound alike. Randy Phillips is reading the news again. Yes. Yes, TP-Link is being investigated because it is the router of choice for many hackers in China, but it's silly. So if hackers use your product and your product is made in another country that we want to demonize, we're going to demonize you even if your products are fine. Welcome to the United States of America. So ridiculous. Peter with a €1 super chat. Thank you, Peter, joining us from the Netherlands. And Peter Laycock's checking out for the evening. It's pretty late there in Scotland. Thank you, Peter, for, well, Buster. Call him Buster. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thank you for everything you do for us in the community. I'll tell you, if the U.S. government was truly out to protect the U.S. citizens, in my opinion, the company they need to ban is D-Link. You want to talk about hackers that hackers? Routers that can be easily hacked, that will not be patched ever by the company that's fully aware of it and says, too bad, throw it away by another one. Just type in D-Link hack Tom's Hardware, and you can go back for years and see the same article, only now all that's changing are the product names. For years, that's all D-Link does. They make a product, they don't support it, they expose, the journalists or the hackers expose all these flaws. D-Link says, we're not fixing it, it's too old, buy another one. How are they still in business? I don't get it. It's a US-based company, I want to like them, but wanting to like them isn't the barrier to entry here. Why would you do that? Why would you sell a product and then not support it? Because, well, it's only, for most companies, I understand you got to have a cutoff date at some point. But if you've got products that are lasting and people are using them, and you can't be bothered to offer a fix to a hack that could completely jeopardize the integrity of that customer's data and identity, especially if that customer is running a business with your products, how is the government, the United States government, allowing this to continue for the last 15 years? This is all D-Link does, over and over and over. And the good thing about the internet is if you take the time to search the articles, you're going to read pretty much the same articles. There's a flaw, there's an exploit in a D-Link product, D-Link won't fix it. D-Link is aware of it, they said, we're not fixing it, buy a new D-Link, buy a new one. We don't make that model anymore. We're not supporting it anymore. It's too old. And we're not talking about cheap products here. How in the world are they still in business? And the US government's going, don't look at D-Link. Look, Chinese company. Where? Sorry, it makes my head hurt. Chinese company, bad. More clicks. More clicks is more money. Welcome to the internet. Welcome to the news. Sorry. Let's hear some more about drones that people fly around for fun to freak other people out. And let's listen to those people freak out like it makes any difference in the world. Look, there's drones in New Jersey. So what? Well, what are they? Who cares? What are they doing? None of your business. But why is it there? Because someone bought a drone and they're using it to freak you out. Well, let's report that on the news. Click, cha-ching, click, cha-ching. I really wish it was more complicated than that. Jeez, I wish I was wrong. I know what to do. Stop watching the news. Just stop watching it. pointless. Vaso says he's got a Western Digital mechanical drive. It's a 10 terabyte. He says he has a lot of data on it. He'll replace it with the 8 terabyte because it's a matter of time when the hard drive will break. It already kicks and makes noises. Well, I hope if the data is important, you have a copy of that data on yet another drive. Just because you bought a new drive doesn't mean it's not going to fail or be immune from viruses or power spikes, floods, thefts, fires. If it's important data, make a copy of it, or just, keep the data on the old 10 terabyte drive when you retire it and put it away somewhere. But that means any new data you add, you better figure out where to put it if it really means that much to you. And if it doesn't mean that much to you, you don't even need to have it. So you can save a lot of money and not buy the drive. Pick a lane. Carey for president. No, yeah, they're going to take me right out. I'll tell you that. I announce I'm going to run, and then suddenly I'll be carried away in a box. No, thank you. You go first. Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How-To in the UK wants to know who's worse, China or the American CIA, FBI, or DOJ? I'm not going to say anything because I'm on a YouTube video, and I don't need to draw any unnecessary attention to myself from a massively powerful government agency that has the power to take away my freedoms. So I think they're all great. I might have been born at night, but I wasn't born last night. Mike wants to be called Mike's Unboxing. Okay. Mike's Unboxing it shall be, if I can remember that. What you got coming up this week, Mike, over on your channel? Tell us. We got any Mike's Unboxing trailers? Adminos in the chat says, I've never had any SSD fail. Even my oldest is almost a 7-year-old Kingston. Yeah, I don't. Boy, I'll tell you what, I wish I could legally and morally, consciously live with myself by selling magic elixir, because the culture and the society that we live in today is so freaked out with anxiety, I could sell it to them. In fact, they would probably shove their money in my face and say, take my money and give me that magic elixir. It's so easy right now. People are so gullible. I just cannot believe how much the world has changed. I was raised as Gen X, and we were raised to be very skeptical, especially of government and especially of magical cures and anything government related. We grew up with Ronald Reagan, in the 80s, and as children we saw barely sort of what happened with Nixon, and of course there was Jimmy Carter and et cetera, et cetera. And I don't look fondly back at any president in my lifetime. And we were just raised differently. It was more of a look out for yourself, because no one's going to look out for you. Your mama and your papa, they look out for you, but when you turn 18, no one else is going to look out for you. And if you don't learn how to look out for yourself, you're going to have a tough life. And now I kind of feel like people are more reliant on everybody being their mamas and their papas. California dreaming? That was a song sung by the mamas and the papas. Never mind. Anyway, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, it's up to you to decide if you want to live your life that way. You don't have to be manipulated by the media. You don't have to be manipulated by me. You don't have to be manipulated by anybody. You just wake up and decide, what do I need to get through my day? Am I going to believe everything anybody tells me? Because you know the word gullible, it's not in the dictionary. Something we used to do to each other as kids. It's to see which kids were gullible enough to look it up to prove us wrong. And then we got a big laugh out of how gullible they were. Kids don't do that today. So we were brought up. When I tell you we were brought up to be skeptical, this is all part of that. And I do think it's made us a little more bulletproof. We have a little bit more armor. We're not perfect. We're tough, and we're skeptics. But we're also, in general, as a culture in that generation, very open-minded, that we don't care what anybody else is doing as long as you leave me alone. I've never had a problem with anybody who's ever left me alone. And I think I speak for a generation. Overall, that's how we feel. When people are not minding their own business, when people are yelling that the sky is falling because an acorn hit their head, we remember that story being written to us to not be that way when we were 5. And apparently people have gone their whole lives without hearing the story. And so all of these old stories come back and have a deeper meaning to me as an adult of how important they were to have those stories read to us and taught to us when we were children and we were impressionable. Because trying to change somebody's mind when they've already sort of locked in their personality and their behavior patterns is very, very difficult. You got to get them when they're young. Thankfully, it doesn't work that way with our pets. Dogs can be 13 years old and you can teach that dog new tricks. They're always like a puppy all the time. This expression, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, is not true at all. You can teach an old dog as many new tricks as a young dog, because an old dog doesn't know it's old. That's the brilliant part of it. So that's an interesting expression because it's simply not true. Let's see. Peter in the Netherlands said his mother had died when he says he was 24 or she was 24. He says, I learned to take care of myself at an early age. Yeah, what choice did you have? Luke Greenia says, the word free is a mythical word, for you will pay one way or another. Yeah, but that's kind of true with everything now. Like, even when you pay for something, if you buy Netflix or an Amazon Prime subscription, you're still paying in many of the same ways as you are with free software. Like it used to be, if you paid for it, you wouldn't see the commercials, right? But now you pay for it and you see the commercials. And they wouldn't sell your data unless you paid for it, but now they sell you data even more so when you pay for it. So all of that's changed now. This idea that the product is free only because you're the product, or when the product is free of the product. Well, when the product costs money, you're still the product. The whole industry has changed. There's a great DEF CON panel by a gentleman named Cory Doctorow, D-O-C-T-O-R-O-W. I'm not sure how to say his name. He's got a series of books on Amazon, and he's talking about how the industry has changed and how they're just selling everything, whether you're a free customer or a paid customer, it makes no difference anymore. And he makes a lot of really good points. But that being said, it's just whatever phase we are in our evolution. At some point, there's going to be so much information about everybody that it's just too much and meaningless. It'll become oversaturated and lose its value. It's not permanent. But that's my opinion on it anyway. Peter said his mother was 43 when she passed, so he was 24. Yeah, that's really sad, but you know, it's nothing you can do but continue to not only survive but hopefully thrive. And certainly our mothers usually make that easier for us, but sometimes they can make it so easy for some of us that we never find out what we're capable of because we're never left alone long enough to find out. And if you've never done it, it's a pretty scary thing to do. But when you have to do it, you'd be amazed at what you can do. And the sooner you figure that out, the more time you have to get better. However good you are now, start now. And you'll be better tomorrow. And every time you keep doing that and keep practicing, it's like my piano playing skills. If I played it every day, I bet I'd be pretty good at it by now. And I haven't played it in a long time, so I can't play as good as I did, which wasn't great to begin with. It's only gotten worse. And if you never played at all, you'll never know. And by the time you figure it out, you'll have less time. You know, by the time I'm 60, what's the difference if I start now or I started 10 years ago? A massive difference in just a few years from now, if I had kept going. Just food for thought. Randy seems fixated on the news. I'm not entertaining this anymore, Randy. If you want to watch the news, have at it. You're just following the clickbait, my friend. If there's anything that would actually affect a regular citizen with regards to routers or internet security, you can be sure I'll be telling it to you from a technical standpoint, not from a media standpoint of trying to get your click. So if you want to continue about that, I'm not acknowledging that anymore because it's just ridiculous in my opinion. And let's see, what else do we have? Anything else in the chat? Well, we're a little over for today. The friends at ORICO, thank you for sending us the drive. All of our friends in the chat room, thank you for hanging out with us. Let me check the phone just one last time just to see if I missed anything, because I hate not saying thank you to the generosity of the community here. And so I prefer to find out before I end the video. Because I'm like, well, that was rude. That was rude of me to do that. And it looks like I haven't missed anything. Everything looks really quiet. Again, our email address, if you want to reach out with comments or questions, is right here on the screen. Be sure and check out Mike's unboxing reviews and how-tos. If you like my videos and the kind of things we review and evaluate, I think you'll like his videos too. Only he's got that fancy British accent, so it sounds fancier than when I say it. Great guy, great channel, great community over there as well. A shout out to our friends Doug Betts over at Live Windows Training with Doug Betts if you want to learn more about real techs doing real work. Our friends over at our friend Planet Cryos has his own YouTube channel. He's been posting quite frequently there and does excellent work, does shorter pre-recorded videos. Be sure and check him out as well. Community within community, love it. I'm probably forgetting somebody, and I apologize if I have. It's not on purpose. It's live and unscripted. Also, of course, Mara, for all the work she does, all the administrative tasks she does in the background is, I can sit here and tell you all of the administrative work, like thumbnails and video descriptions, and going through those emails and talking to potential company review, with companies that want to work with us potentially, right? And sort of weeding those out that are looking at something for nothing or they don't have a clue what we do here. We love your channel. Would you be interested in reviewing our new belt? Belt? Yeah, we also have a new set of sneakers. You want to review? You've seen my channel? Sure, we love your content. You're great. So I don't deal with that anymore. I let Mara deal with that. She seems to enjoy it for some reason. It's very strange. Anyway, super shout out to Mara for all the work she does on our channel here.
Thank you.
Now back to work. Tomorrow, what's going on tomorrow? Mitch Morrison will join us tomorrow. We're going to try and complete the Asus ProArt Z890 Creator Wi-Fi board. This thing's insane. No RGB. We've got the ProArt case, the ProArt motherboard, the ProArt liquid cooler. All the parts, like the board is all prepped with the cooler. The case weighs like 4,000 pounds. I don't know, it's heavy. and it doesn't seem to have any handles to pick it up. So I'm not even sure how Mitch and I together are going to pick up this heavy empty case. And then when we're done putting the board and the cooler in there, along with the power supply, it's going to get even heavier. And then Mitch and I are going to have to set it down somewhere here. And it's likely going to stay there a while until I can move it. Mara wants to use that as the new computer that she uses for creating the thumbnails and all the work she does. And I don't know how I'm going to get it in her office. And then she's got the big Apache helicopter. That thing weighs like 80 pounds. That's got to come out. Anyway, I hope Mitch brings his, what do you call that, hernia belt? I'm going to put him to work. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks again to ORICO for sending us the drives for evaluation. Overall, thumbs up. I think that's a great drive. So far, out of the gate, numbers are good, price is good, warranty is good. What else you want? Let's go. I mean, what? You want me to pay you to take it? This is ridiculous. It's getting to the point now. These drives cost less than what an equivalent mechanical hard drive cost of 2 terabytes not that long ago. Man, when you could get a 2 terabyte mechanical hard drive for 90 bucks, you were doing a sweet deal right there. You're getting a good deal. It wasn't that long ago. So, in any event, we thank them for sending it. Again, a big thumbs up on the enclosure. I just don't like that little locking piece for the reasons you witnessed here. We will be back at 1 o'clock, as always, Phoenix time tomorrow. That's 12 p.m. Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. With the live chat open, we hope you'll join us. And we're going to put this rest of this Asus ProRack Creator Z890 board all together, live, unscripted, unedited, as always. And hopefully we'll have a special treat for you at the very beginning of the video. If all this works out, don't miss the beginning. Thank you for watching. I'll see you all again very, very soon. A shout out once again, Buster, Oystein, Frankie B, Paul Gray, Mark Gaines. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for your generosity. I'm leaving a few people out, not on purpose, but I'll be here all day. And I can't remember who I'm leaving out. But these gentlemen have been so generous to our community that most of the stuff you see here wouldn't have been possible without them. And of course, without our members and your support and the fact that you're even here, because who else would we be making it for? Thank you for being a part of it. We'll see you all again tomorrow. Until then, bye for now.